Beloved Saints, today's 5-minute message of redemptive history is about God's Covenant Part 1 from the 4th book of Redemptive History series, God's Profound and Mysterious Providence. History of redemption, which outlines the salvation of fallen mankind, progressed according to God's administration. Since God's covenants are the links connecting redemptive history, one can say that the history of redemption is linked by a series of covenants. A covenant means promise. A promise is meaningful when it becomes fulfilled. In the Bible, there are various covenants, such as the covenant with Abraham and the covenant with David. However, the core of redemptive history is the covenant about the Messiah and its fulfillment. The core and final revelation of the covenant is Jesus Christ. Then, what are the distinctive characteristics of these covenants, which are effective until the end of the ages? First, it is a sovereign covenant. During the Old Testament, when the two people are to enter into a covenant, they need to be of the same position. When we look in Jeremiah 34, it says that a calf has to be cut into two. And the two people that are ratifying the covenant has to pass or walk in between the two pieces. However, God's covenant that fulfills redemptive history is a covenant between God and the fallen mankind. Fallen mankind is in no way qualified to establish a covenant with God. Nonetheless, God, who is greater than all, in order to accomplish the great plan to save his elect, unilaterally established his covenant with us. So it is a unilateral and sovereign covenant. Even though we are so unqualified, God ratified the covenant with us. And we're so thankful for God's sovereign grace that fulfills redemptive history through Jesus Christ. Bible calls this covenant the covenant of God or covenant of the Lord. Second, it is an eternal covenant. The eternal covenant that God has established is an immutable covenant which remains steadfast through time. The covenants that God has ratified with people are not only valid in their own time, but will remain effective through eternity. In Genesis 9:16, it describes the covenant that God ratified with Noah. It says, "Whenever the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and all living creatures of every kind on the earth." Here, the word everlasting in Hebrew signifies eternity. This covenant is a perpetual covenant that God ratified with Noah, saying that he will not judge the world with water again. Also, God had established an eternal covenant with Abraham, as well as with the Israelites of the Exodus. Everyone, God grants two blessings upon those who grasp the eternal covenant. First, we, the covenantal people, will be ordered and secured in all things. In 2 Samuel 23 verse 5, it says, "If my house were not right with God, surely he would not have made me an everlasting covenant, arranged and secured in every part. Surely he would not bring to fruition my salvation and grant me my every desire." This shows us that through the covenant, all things will work together for good and that we will prosper in all respects. Second, we, the covenantal people, will be joined to God. Jeremiah 50 verse 5 states, "Come, let us join ourselves to the Lord in an everlasting covenant that will never be forgotten." This is a blessing where God never leaves our sides, but takes care of us until the end. It is also a blessing where God enables us to fear God and to never leave Him. Consequently, God will become our God and we will become His own people. Beloved saints, today, even though we are unqualified to enter into a covenant with God, He still chose us and ratified this sovereign covenant. So let us always be thankful to God, and let us not forsake this eternal word of the covenant. I bless in the name of the Lord.